Senator Lindsey Graham. Senator, I have one big question. You're laughing?
That's a lot to unpack. That was pretty good. That was good.
I don't trust Putin. I think he's a thug. I think he sent his thugs here. We had a FBI spy in his network. He's trying to get a foothold in our uranium industry. Bribery, kickback, money laundering. We all knew about it, but they still signed off on that deal, and Hillary benefited through the foundation. She paid for a Russian dossier full of lies, absolute lies that were disseminated to the American people. Where's that investigation, Senator?
Well, we should have had a special counsel appointed a long time ago to look at all things Clinton. So here's what I will do if I'm the chairman of the Judiciary Committee in the Senate next year. I'm going to look at the FISA warrant application. How much of it was based on the dossier? Was there any information beyond the dossier offered to get the warrant? And if the dossier was unverified, how could you swear to the court it was accurate? Somebody misled the court. So I promise you and your listeners that we're going to find out how this warrant was issued. How could a judge determine there was probable cause if the only document was the dossier that was unverified? How did the system break down?
Senator, I got to be honest. Not only did it not break, that information was pushed out to the American people. They didn't verify it, nor did they tell the court something I believe is pertinent, that Hillary paid for it. Why would they not why would they hide that from the court?
So to issue a warrant against an American citizen to surveil them under the FISA statute, the judge has to believe there's probable cause that the person is connected to a foreign entity. If the document that the judge was given was paid for by a political party and the opposing candidate, and it was never verified, and it's not verified to this day, what happens to those who submit the document to the court? If they're not punished, you're going to reinforce doing this in the future. Imagine if it was the Trump campaign, the RNC hired a foreign agent to get a political dossier against Clinton given to the court that turned out to be a bunch of garbage. It'd be front page news all over the world. We're not going to let this go because it's important to the American people that the FISA warrant application process
Let me ask you this.
Correctly.
Will we get to the bottom? Obviously, Comey's biased and wanted Hillary to win, as was Peter Strzok, who interviewed her, who thought that she should win 100 million to zero. My question is, are we going to now go back to the investigation into her illegal server with classified and top secret information on it, too? Are we going to get into the uranium one? How did that ever happen? Was there a quid pro quo? And who would appoint the special counsel? Would it be the new attorney general? Can the president do it? Can you do it?
Well, it'd be the new attorney general. And here's, I think, what's frustrating to you and others is that when Mueller's done, nobody can doubt that Trump was looked at very hard. They're trying to flip people right and left. None of that was done during the Clinton investigation. As a matter of fact, the people involved in investigating Clinton wanted her to win and Trump to lose. So we've never had the same scrutiny. I hope in the future that's corrected.
Last question. Can the president get the you're telling the president hold out for the $5 billion for the wall, or don't do the deal?
Dig in, don't give in, get the $5 billion, put DACA on the table, make them say no to wall funding, make them say no to relief for the DACA recipients. Stay strong, Mr. President. You got the right, you're on the right side of this issue.
All right, Lindsey Graham, good to see you. Thank you. All right, so last night on this program, we had huge news with the Hill's John Solomon breaking the story that the Justice Department official Bruce Orr, under oath in congressional testimony, revealing to high-ranking DOJ, FBI officials that Christopher Steele and his dossier was in fact connected and paid for by Clinton and very well would be politically biased. Our own Greg Jarrett now explores the major legal consequences of this in his new article entitled, out on FoxNews.com, Mueller's team knew dossier kicking off Trump investigation was biased and defective. Here to discuss the details, author of the #1 bestseller, Russia Hoax, the illicit scheme to clear Hillary Clinton, frame Donald Trump, Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett, and the author of the bestseller License to Lie, Exposing Corruption in the Justice Department, former federal prosecutor Sidney Powell is back with us. All right, Greg, let's start with your column, and let's now take it. So in August of 2016, Bruce Orr warns everybody, all the people, in the FBI, the upper echelon, and DOJ, warns them, oh, Hillary paid for this, biased, and Christopher Steele hates Trump.
Right. So they knew it's paid for by Hillary Clinton. They knew that it's written by a guy who'll do anything to stop Donald Trump. They should have dropped it, therefore, in the trash can. They didn't. They thought it was gold. We don't care if it's phony or not. We'll use it as a pretext to frame Donald Trump.
Russian lies.
Right.
Paid for. Okay.
Right. So who does Bruce Orr tell? We've now confirmed, I've been able to confirm as well, much of his deposition testimony. He implicates two top officials at the Department of Justice who are now on the special counsel's team of partisans, and two others at the FBI who were on it who have since left. So now we know, you've often asked me, why isn't Mueller investigating the FBI and the DOJ for Hillary Russian collusion? I think we now know the answer. 4 people on his own panel were implicated.
Including one Andrew Weissman we talk about all the time.
Zainab Ahmad, Andrew Weissman, and of course the infamous Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, all 4 were on. Yeah, they all knew in the summer of 2016 that this thing was suspect.
So if he's supposedly looking at Russian interference, Hillary pays for Russian lies about her opponent that they are peddling.
Right.
Even we have our own intel community peddling to the American people.
Right.
So they do it to steal an election. Then they do it to get a FISA warrant. Right. You know what everyone tells? Why aren't any of these people ever investigated? Where's the grand jury? When is somebody going to do their job?
Because you had the incompetent and feckless Jeff Sessions in charge, and Rod Rosenstein, who signed off on one of the FISA warrants improperly.
And he knew it was bought and paid.
That's right. He's been
obstructing, not verified.
He's been obstructing ever since. So Sessions is gone. Rosenstein will soon be gone. William Barr will become the Attorney General, and I'm fairly confident he will investigate.
If he doesn't, then we're a banana republic. Sidney, let me go to you. You know a lot about Andrew Weissman because you wrote about him. He's Mueller's pit bull. Now he knew about this, and they're looking into Russia collusion, and they never touched this?
Sean, I'm sure Mr. Weissman was very involved in it. He might have even helped draft the FISA applications. He would have known about it from the first conversation he had with Christopher Steele. I mean, this kind of fabrication is right up Mr. Weissman's alley, as you know from reading License to Lie yourself. He's very good at making up crimes and making up the factual narrative he wants to suit whatever crime he wants to charge. That's his standard operating procedure, while he hides the evidence that shows people are innocent.
Because remember, Bruce Orr, after Steele's fired for lying and leaking by the FBI, they still wanted more contact with him. His contact was Bruce Orr. And they're writing about, we have Christopher Steele, who built this lying, phony dossier that's debunked, now giving information to Bruce Orr to funnel to the special counsel Robert Mueller himself. We have that evidence.
Oh, yes. Yes, and I think it goes back farther than that, Sean. I think it goes back to 2015 when Comey gave illegal access to the raw NSA data to 3 private contractors. I would bet that one of those is Fusion GPS, and that they were mining that data to create this phony dossier with Christopher Steele in the first place.
So for
and then
2 years,
recycled it through him.
2 years it's been Trump-Russia, and they knew from the get-go that Hillary paid for Russian lies that were disseminated to the American people, and then they used those lies that they knew were lies, never verified it. If they would have done their job, they sign off at it as gospel truth to get a warrant, shred the Constitution, shred the Fourth Amendment to spy on a Trump campaign associate, and they're the people in charge of looking into Russian collusion?
Exactly. They lied to the FISA court, and Mr. Rosenstein signed the applications, Mr. Comey signed the applications. There are others who signed those applications as well, whose names have been redacted. We need to know who those people are. The investigation that Mr. Mueller started should have been of those people and never of the Trump campaign at all. It's egregious government misconduct. The Mueller witch hunt should be ended immediately, and the entire team should be disbanded, and they're the ones that should be investigated. I don't know, Sean. I mean, I'm still concerned about Mr. Barr's personal relationship with Mr. Mueller.
So am I. You're not.
No. Look, the bottom line here is there was no Trump collusion, but there was Hillary, FBI, Department of Justice collusion, and 4 people on Mueller's special counsel team involved.
And also, we know that they literally lied to a FISA court and committed fraud. All right.
Amazon reported last night, posting a 3rd straight record profit. However, the company's revenue guidance for the first quarter missed expectations, and that is weighing on the stock this morning. We'll take a look at Amazon momentarily, and as you can see, the numbers there of $5.68 a share versus $6.04. The stock down right now 4.5%. Joining me right now, CFRA research, media, and entertainment analyst Tuna Amobi. Tuna, it's great to see you again.
As always, Maria.
Your reaction to the Amazon quarter?
So, I thought that there were a number of positive takeaways here, right? The operating income number actually topped the guidance that the company provided. The one kind of blip in the quarter was the revenue number, as you alluded to, right? So I think that is actually, in a way, due to the law of large numbers. It's kind of finally catching up. But I think the main story here, as I think about Amazon, is the kind of the favorable mix shift from traditional lower margin businesses to actually businesses that are now going to be incremental to the overall margin. So think about cloud computing. Think about the shift to third-party sellers and also the growing advertising business. So all of this, I think, bode well for future profitability.
So what drove things in the quarter, and how would you characterize the holiday season in terms of the nuts and bolts of the business, delivery and retail?
Sure. So I think we know that the holiday season actually came in fairly strong overall across the industry. Amazon has been gaining share, and all of the data points that we saw coming into this quarter for the holiday season, I think really set the company up for what I believe was a monster, holiday season. All of the hardware devices, the Echo, Alexa, the Fire Stick were flying off the shelves. But there's no doubt that the core e-commerce business has been slowing, and we saw that again this past quarter. So overall, I think the fundamentals of the business remain intact. The favorite metric that the company looks at, trailing 12-month operating free cash flow, now hitting a run rate of almost $20 billion, almost double year over year.
That slowing, is that a function of a slowing global economy, or is that a function of just Amazon and the law of large numbers, as you said? Does growth become tougher from here?
It does from a top-line perspective, there's no doubt. If you're talking about the core e-commerce business, both in the U.S. and international. But I think Amazon Web Services, which is only 10% of the overall revenue growth, is going to maintain a trajectory, we think, of at least 45 to 50% growth for the next few years. Now almost hitting a $30 billion run rate business. So
that's the cloud business.
That's the cloud business.
AWS, yeah.
Correct.
Okay. What company surprised you? Broaden it out for us. Take a look at the quarter in general in terms of earnings growth. Any company surprised you so far this earnings season?
I think, a lot of the big media companies are yet to report. We know the FANG names have been navigating a lot of the, privacy issues. Facebook was a really good positive surprise. I think kind of set the tone of what to expect here. So I think the core FANG story essentially remains intact. The media, the core media business, as we look to the next few weeks when the big ones start to report, frankly, I think there's really not much to be too excited about here. The core businesses are facing some secular pressures, but all the companies are really repositioning themselves for this new paradigm shift of direct-to-consumer shift, and that's going to be the key here, which companies can favorably make that transition.
Well, we're just coming off of the best month in 30 years for the markets. Would you put new money to work right here?
Well, Maria, as you know, it's debatable the chances of recession. This is a sector universe that is really kind of cyclical, and if the odds of a recession increase dramatically, then all bets are off. But having said that, I think there's still some fundamental, things that make us quite optimistic as we look over the next 12 months.
Within media?
Within media and, in fact, within the technology TMT sector.
All right, we will leave it there. Tuna, great to see you.
Thanks, Maria.
Thanks so much. Tuna Amobi joining us there.